Hola, ¿qué tal? I hope you're all well. This is our third lesson on school subjects. And in this lesson, we're going to start with a big revision, and we're going to move into editing a dialogue that I have written for you that contains numerous mistakes. Well done to all of you on getting some wonderful work up on Seesaw from the previous lesson where you wrote some fantastic dialogues. Let's get going. Hola, la clase. ¿Cómo estáis? Muy bien, gracias. Vamos a empezar. Vamos a empezar con una revisión de 10 minutos. Te toca. We're going to start with a revision. It will be a 10-minute task. I'm going to explain to you what it looks like. Here we have our revision page. As you can see, there is a green section, an orange section, and a red section. Each section gets progressively harder. So this section, we should all be able to do well. This section, we should all be able to do. And this section, we're hoping we can all do. The sections are divided into two. The top section says translate. The bottom section says answer. That's the same for all of the colours, the green, the orange, and the red. So, what do we need to do? In the first section, you have 3 questions that you must translate from Spanish into English. ¿Cómo te llamas? Here, you will write what that means in English. Mucho gusto. Here, you will write what that means in English. ¿Cuántos años tienes? Here, you will write what that means in English. Then you move down, and here you must answer the questions. ¿Cómo te llamas? You write your answer here in Spanish. ¿Cuántos años tienes? Write your answer here in Spanish. ¿Qué tal? Write your answer here in Spanish. When you've done the green section, you move into the orange section and you do exactly the same thing. Then the red section, exactly the same thing. Let me show you a couple of examples. Translation. ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? If you were to answer number 1, ¿odias el fútbol? Do you hate football? No odio el fútbol, me encanta. So that's what you need to do. Now, the sheet that you have in front of you, you can either print off if you have a printer, but if you don't have a printer, what you're going to have to do is pause the video, and all you need to do is translate or answer. You don't need to copy what I've asked you to do. You just do the task. So on a piece of paper here, you would write 1, 2, 3 and translate 1, 2, 3. Then you would write 1, 2, 3 and answer 1, 2, 3. If you print this off, you will obviously write your answers on the lines. This is a 10-minute task. So the best thing you can do now is pause your video, either write on a piece of paper or write on the worksheet if you have printed it off. Pause your video now for 10 minutes. Excellent. Hopefully you've managed to do that task in 10 minutes. I'm going to show you the answers so you can self-assess your work. That means you can now check your answers, and we'll run through them a little bit. As you can see, what's your name? Nice to meet you. How old are you? Me llamo, and then you would write your name here. Me llamo María. Me llamo Mr. Bell. Tengo 10 años o tengo 11 años. Muy bien, gracias. Go to the orange section, translation. Where do you live? I am English. I like football. Answers. I wrote, no odio el fútbol, me encanta. But maybe you wrote something different. ¿Te gusta la natación? You could write, me gusta la natación or no me gusta la natación. ¿Qué deporte te encanta? What sport do you like? Me encanta, plus the name of the sport. Over to the red section, translation. I love studying geography. I hate studying maths. What subject do you like to study? And final section of answering. ¿Por qué te gusta estudiar el español? Why do you like to study Spanish? Me gusta estudiar el español porque es, and here hopefully you've put an adjective. ¿Qué asignatura es tu favorita? What is your favorite subject? Mi asignatura favorita es, and again here you would have put a subject. ¿Qué asignatura no es tu favorita? What subject is not your favorite? Here you would start with the subject, such as la historia no es mi favorita. Check your answers now. Give yourself a tick if you've got it correct. If you haven't, that's fine. Just correct it. I'm going to give you a few minutes. Again, I would suggest pause your video now so you can check your answers. Wonderful. Let's move on. So today you're going to edit a piece of opinion writing. You need to identify your typical masculine and feminine nouns. Identify por qué es, that gives us reasons. Identify adjectives to express preferences and identify key conversational language. Vamos a empezar con una revisión de las asignaturas. Let's do a quick revision of our subjects. My turn, your turn. La historia, la música, la religión, la informática, la educación física, la geografía, la tecnología, el dibujo, el inglés, el español, el teatro, las matemáticas, las ciencias. Well done. A few quick questions. How do we say IT in Spanish? That's correct. La informática. How do we say art in Spanish? El dibujo. How do we say drama in Spanish? That's right, el teatro. How do we say DT, design technology, in Spanish? That's right, la tecnología. And last question, how do we say PE, physical education, in Spanish? That's right, la educación física. Muy bien. Give yourself an estupendo. Okay, ahora tenemos otra revisión. We have another revision de tocar. Here are some of our key language pieces. This is going to enhance our writing. We have, my turn, your turn. Let's go with this one. Pienso que. ¿Qué piensas tú? Estoy de acuerdo. No estoy de acuerdo. No sé. ¿Estás de broma? ¿Qué? ¿Estás loco? ¿Estás loca? Okay, quick revision. You need to tell me what you remember. What do these key phrases mean? Let's start with our first one, excuse me, which is pienso que. Pienso que. What does that mean? Well done. I think that. Now, pienso and piensas, well, we can see the connection there. So what do we think the question ¿qué piensas tú might be asking? What do you think? Well done. This one here, estoy de acuerdo. Do you remember what that might mean? I agree. Easy one. The opposite, no estoy de acuerdo, obviously means I disagree. What about this one? No sé. Well done. I don't know. And one of our favorites, ¿estás de broma? Well done. Are you joking? Another favorite we've got down here is our big ¿qué? That's a big what? And the last one, probably the favorite of all, ¿estás loco? Or ¿estás loca? Who can remind me what that means? Well done. Are you crazy? Excellent. Good. Let's move on. So, what we're going to do now is traducir con Mr. Bell. We're going to look at the text we had last week and we're going to translate, just like you did in your Do Now. So, here's our text. Oops, excuse me. Here's our text. This is the text we had last week. We're going to read and then you translate. So, here we go. Hey, ¿qué tal, Elena? What does that mean in English? That's right. Hey, how are you, Elena? And she says, bien, Carlos. ¿Qué piensas de la geografía? What does that mean in English? Excellent. It means good, Carlos. What do you think about geography? And Carlos says, pues, me encanta porque es súper fácil y divertido. Let's translate that. What does that mean in English? Pues, me encanta porque es súper fácil y divertido. Well done. It means, well, I love, obviously, geography because it is super easy and fun. And then she says, ¿qué? ¿Estás loco? Es súper aburrido y difícil. What's Elena saying back? Let's translate that. Well done. She says, what? Are you crazy? It is super boring and difficult. And then this young lady joins the conversation. She says, estoy de acuerdo. Es poco interesante. Who can translate that for me? Well done. I agree. It is very uninteresting, or it is little interesting. Obviously, in English, we would say it's very uninteresting. And then he joins the conversation and says, ¿Estás de broma, María? ¿Y qué piensas de la historia? Let's translate this bit. ¿Estás de broma, María? What does that mean? Well done. Are you joking, Maria? And then he has a question. ¿Y qué piensas de la historia? What's he asking her? What's that question in English? And what do you think about history? Let's see what she thinks. Pues también, no sé. ¿Y tú? She sounds quite confused. Let's see if we can translate that into English. What does all that mean? Excellent. Well, also, I don't know. And you? And then he answers, pienso que es interesante y me gusta. What does he think? What does that mean in English? Well done. I think it's interesting and I like it. And then Carlos comes back with, no estoy de acuerdo, Fernando. Es muy aburrido. Let's translate that last phrase. I disagree with you, Fernando. It's very boring. Well done. Okay, let's do that conversation. Me and you. I will be this side here, the left side. You will be the right side. So I start, then you go, then me, and we'll continue like that. Let's get ready. 3, 2, 1. Hey, ¿qué tal, Elena? Pues me encanta porque es súper fácil y divertido. Estoy de acuerdo, es poco interesante. Pues también, no sé, ¿y tú? No estoy de acuerdo, Fernando. Es muy aburrido. Well done, really good conversation. Let's do it again, but this time we'll swap roles. So that means you are this side, so you will start the conversation. I am this side, and I will follow your lead. So get ready to start. 3, 2, 1. Bien, Carlos. ¿Qué piensas de la geografía? ¿Qué? ¿Estás loco? Es súper aburrido y difícil. ¿Estás de broma, María? ¿Y qué piensas de la historia? Pienso que es interesante y me gusta. Muy bien, very impressed with your Spanish. Okay, here's our main task today. It is an editar. We're going to edit a text I have written. You need to do two things. You're going to highlight the mistakes so you can recognize those mistakes straight away. And then you will edit the mistakes. That means you will correct those mistakes. So let's have a little look at the text I've written. Two of our friends having a conversation. In this text, there are numerous mistakes. I won't tell you how many because you need to find them. What we need to do is, first of all, highlight or underline those mistakes. Let's do one together. Carlos starts with, "Hey, ¿cómo te llamas, Elena?" And she says, "Muy bien, Carlos. ¿Qué piensas de la música?" Now, I hope there's an alarm bell in your head going, ¿Qué? What's that? So straight away, I can see Carlos has said, "Hey, what's your name, Elena?" That's a bit odd. And she says, "Muy bien, Carlos." So clearly, this here does not belong in this conversation. This needs to be taken out and edited. We've got to look at the response because he is asking a question. It's not, "¿Cómo te llamas, Elena?" What's your name, Elena? But it is a question because she says, "Muy bien, Carlos." So what do you think Carlos has probably asked her? That's right. He's probably said, "¿Qué tal, Elena?" And she said, "Muy bien, Carlos." And then she says, "¿Qué piensas de la música?" What are your thoughts? Or what do you think about music? Now, I don't want to read anymore because if I keep reading, it's going to be pretty obvious where the mistakes are because some of them are just really nonsensical. That means they make no sense. So your task is now to read the whole text, highlight the mistakes, and then edit them. That means write what should be in that conversation, such as, "¿Qué tal, Elena?" You've got to go all the way to the end. Do have a look at what's being said. Look at the responses and then go back and think, does that make sense? Now, here is where you can write the entire conversation out again perfectly. So you can print this sheet off, use your highlighter or underline, and then use this sheet to write out the text correctly, edited. Now, if you don't have a printer, that's fine. You can pause the video and maybe write out the mistakes and then next to them write the correct versions. So it's time to pause your video. If you have a printer, you can print this off. Okay. It's time to pause your video and I'll give you probably about a good 20 minutes to do this. Pause your video now and we'll look at the answers. Excellent. I hope you paused your video and you've taken the time to do that. So what I'm going to do is show you the highlighted mistakes. So here's our text. And as you can see, I've highlighted all the areas that are nonsensical. They do not make sense in this text. What I want you to do now is check your text. Have you highlighted the same mistakes? I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. Pause your video now. Fantastic. Well done. Now we have edited the mistakes. That means hopefully you have written what should be in that dialogue so it makes perfect sense. Here is an example of what I've done. The first mistake was now edited to ¿Qué tal, Elena? Over here, it should have been no me gusta porque es aburrido. Here, no estoy de acuerdo Here we forgot a question mark, Spanish question mark, upside down at the beginning. And here, well, in the text that was spelled in English. You need to spell it in Spanish. Historia. We go down to here. It would have been no me gusta, porque es poco interesante. This here in the original text was y usted. It's way too formal for this type of dialogue. So we need to change that to y tú. Down here was me encanta la historia. I don't know why Carlos started talking about football. That's very odd because his question was about history. And then he gives a reason, porque es interesante. Maybe you wrote educativo, divertido. That's okay if you did your own adjectives. Then, really important here, Elena is talking to Carlos. Carlos is a boy. We cannot say, estás loca. We have to say, estás loco. And the final mistake was Carlos saying he disagreed, not he agreed. No estoy de acuerdo. Have a little check of your work. Pause the video if you need to. Do that now. Well done. And that's the end of our lesson for today. Give yourselves a fantastico. Now, Mr. Bell's going to say goodbye, but I'm really looking forward to seeing your work on Seesaw again. Some of you have produced some amazing writing so far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing who's edited this dialogue and the corrections that you've made, especially if you've done something different. Time to say goodbye. Adios.